Ben Domenech joins us this morning. All right, Ben, if this is a contest on how to run a state, I think Florida wins hands down. What say you?
Well, I absolutely agree with you that on the merits, Florida wins, and that, I think you can add to everything that you said, just looking backwards at the COVID experience, the two completely different approaches that these governors had. You couldn't be more opposite in picking someone who, went overboard in terms of lockdown. Newsom has even had to admit that he went overboard in terms of his approach, and obviously let it set himself up for that kind of accusation of hypocrisy in his own behavior and the behavior of a lot of other Democrats in California during that era. But I think that, as you said, this is a debate. It's measured on performance. And I think that one of the real dangers for Ron DeSantis here is that he hasn't had the opportunity to lay the kind of blows that he would have liked to have on stage versus former President Trump. And so in this case, I think he's going to be looking to land a couple of haymakers. Whether he's able to deliver on that or not is going to be a real thing to assess afterwards. And for Newsom, he really can just sort of, pitch back, play rope-a-dope a little bit, dance around in the arena. He doesn't have to achieve as much in order to connect, I think, with the viewers and with the audience. There are lower stakes for him in this than there are for Governor DeSantis.
I hope you saw this, Ben, but Kamala Harris refused to comment on TikTok when she was asked about it. Watch this, please.
Do you believe a Chinese-owned social media platform, which virtually everybody in the country is now looking at on a daily basis, if not an hourly basis, needs to be regulated, or in some states, as you know, they're trying to ban it completely?
I think we should take very seriously the fact that not only individuals, but nation states take very significant measures to undermine the democracy of the United States of America.
And the view on the social media piece, though, you don't have a specific view on TikTok itself?
I'm not commenting on it.
Oh, you want?
The mumble there was no comment from Vice President Harris. Why do you think she would have no comment on something which she said previously very disparaging remarks on?
Well, I think that part of this is the influence campaign from the Chinese themselves, one that has been very successful in Washington. There was bipartisan leaning, not just, on the right, but on the left as well, toward regulating or banning TikTok, forcing a sale potentially just a year ago. And yet, thanks to a well-funded lobbying effort by TikTok and pressure, frankly, brought on this administration, they've really been able to push back against that. Democrats also think of TikTok as being something that's very useful to them. I'll be interested if Gavin Newsom gets a question about this from Ron DeSantis, because he's viewed as, frankly, one of the China's favorite governors in terms of his relationship with them. TikTok, though, is a very influential thing in America, and we've seen the power that it has to negatively influence people, particularly, I would say most recently, in the context of this Gaza conflict and the kind of messages that we've seen pushed there, which saw Osama bin Laden trending as being an influencer. That's not something that's good for our country, and China knows that.
Got it. Ben Domenech, thank you very much indeed, sir. See you again real soon.